What if Naruto was a god and neglected part 2? Let's go. Over the months and years, Naruto was never allowed to ask any questions during class time, because neither the teachers nor the students ever listened to him or cared about him. Which is why Shiro and Naruto's bond grew even closer, because they spent all their time together. Naruto kept training more and more, harder and harder, and now, even working on some jutsus and chakra control. However, also on basics like kunai throwing and shuriken and basic physique. At this point, it's about halfway through Naruto's academy life, about 2 years after the beginning, and Naruto seemed more depressed than ever. Neither the teachers nor the students, not even the people on the streets or their parents, cared about him whatsoever. No one wanted to be his friends. Even the smallest children knew that he was evil. At this point, Shiro wanted to do something good for Naruto, so she went to Minato and asked him if she could perhaps do something different. She didn't mention Naruto at all, since she knew that Minato hated Naruto over anything. However, Minato luckily offered a position as an academy teacher for Shiro, and she quickly accepted. And, best thing of all, she was going to be put in as Naruto's teacher in Menma and Mito's class, because Minato thought that Menma and Mito could learn a lot from such a powerful shinobi, as Shiro was one of the most powerful Jonin there were. Yes, she is now a Jonin. A lot of people who know her considered her to be the strongest Kunoichi, perhaps even the strongest shinobi, even among people as strong as Guy or Kakashi. Their normal teacher, Iruka, became a normal Chunin who went on missions again, since he didn't really like being a teacher anymore. He wanted to have some action once more. So the switch was permanent now. Shiro was going to be a teacher at the academy. Students came into the classroom as normal and sat down in their usual seats. There was some whispering about why Iruka was so late, and some people even suspected that a new teacher would come, such as Shikamaru, who was believed to be the smartest in the class. And then there was Choji, who didn't think much of it. But then, whilst the discussions were in the highest, Shiro walked in. Everybody was stunned by her beauty. Her long silky hair, her beautiful pale skin, and her eyes, so white they could even be mistaken for a Byakugan of the Hyuga clan. However, Naruto was the most surprised out of everybody. She didn't tell him that he was going to be his new teacher. She wanted to surprise him, and she did surprise him indeed. Naruto was very surprised, and also very happy. Perhaps now the teachers would respect Naruto a little more, even if it was just Shiro. She said hello, introduced herself, and then wanted everybody else to introduce themselves as well, because she didn't know anybody, except for Naruto, of course, but she didn't say that. So the students started, one by one, from the front to the back. All the boys in the class tried to make themselves look cool and brag to everyone of how strong they were, how skilled and smart. And now it was Naruto's turn. Nobody expected him to say anything, because he was always skipped, and never given a chance to talk. However, when everything came, Shiro asked, "You in the back there, what's your name?" "Naruto, I presume?" Everybody looked back and was surprised. Everybody knew his name, but nobody expected them to talk. Why would this beauty talk to a demon? "What the hell are you doing?" Menma shouted across the room. "Because we have to be nice to everyone, you see," Shiro responded in a calm tone. Shiro only looked about 2 or 3 years older than the people she was teaching, which is why Menma didn't have a kind of teacher-to-student respect, but just respect to someone who he knew was more powerful and smarter, and a tiny bit older. "Can't we just kick him out of the class?" Mito asked. And everybody started nodding and agreeing, saying, "Yeah, let's just kick him out. My dad is the Hokage. I can just ask him and it'll be done. I wonder why it hasn't happened before." "Stop!" Shiro said, with now an angry look at her face. "We're not gonna kick anyone out of this class, understood? If anything, you guys should be getting attention for what kind of mess you're making. You're making people upset, and it's not okay. Did you understand me?" The wood underneath Shiro's feet started to break and bend. People in the class were very scared now. She had an ominous aura. Nobody knew much about her. except for now her name, which was Shiro. She looked pretty much their age, but seemed to be much more experienced and stronger. The school continued on, and now Naruto wouldn't get bullied by the teachers as much. Shiro was very popular amongst the students and teachers, both for her good looks, kind attitude, and more. Everybody loved when Shiro was teaching. She made it easy to understand, and everybody just couldn't get enough from her. She was like the perfect teacher and girl. Mito developed a crush on her, but it was very obvious, at least for her, that she didn't have feelings towards him back. The only person she had feelings towards was Naruto. However, Naruto was too stupid to understand. Sorry, let me rephrase that. He was too thick-headed to understand. Not stupid, he was pretty smart, but not when it comes to love. 2 years of teaching was enough for Minato, and so he wanted Shiro to go back to the ranks of being a shinobi, especially Konoichi, and to go back out there and do missions, since without her, the shinobi ranks just didn't seem filled. And whilst the village didn't lose its reputation, it just wasn't the same without Shiro. Shiro was known far and wide for anybody who wanted a mission done. Even people who weren't even close to the village hidden in the leaves, such as people from other villages, such as the Sand or the Cloud, knew that Shiro was the person to do everyone's missions, even if it wasn't hers. And so Minato wanted Shiro to return as a Jonin. But since now she had some teaching experience, she could perhaps take on a Genin team. So now, Genin teams would be picked, but first, Genin exams had to be passed. For that to happen, people would need to be able to throw kunai or shuriken, do a clone jutsu, and so on. And of course, a written exam, which no one looked forward to. When all was said and done, everybody passed, and yes, even Naruto. And one of the only reasons he did was because Shiro was the one conducting the tests, because she didn't want anyone to have a bias against Naruto, which everyone did, so she volunteered to do the proctoring for the exams. Now, Genin team leaders would be chosen. Team number 7 in this story is kind of weird, because Team 7 usually has one of the older students as the new team leader, but in this case, it's not. Shiro is the team leader. However, unlike you might have expected, the students are Menma, Mito, and Sasuke. Or as sometimes I like to call him, Sasuke. Now, anyways, they are Team 7. Kakashi is now Team 8. And yeah, I think Asuma is normal Team 8, so he's going to be moved up to Team 9. And so on. Naruto is in Kurenai's team, Team 6, along with Hinata and Shino. None of the three actually like Naruto. In the opposite, all of them hated Naruto even more than a lot of people in the village, especially Hinata. Kurenai was the first one to enter the class and picked up her 3 new Genin students. She told them all to meet outside at a bench nearby, and they did. Kurenai introduced herself and then explained that tomorrow there is going to be a test where the 3 of them would have to hit her. Well, land a hit on her, and the first 2 to do would stay as the Genin team. The last one would fail and have to go back to the academy. Naruto knew that that was contradictory because a Genin team never had less than 3 people, well, less than 3 students and 1 teacher. But he didn't say anything just yet because he knew nobody would listen to him. So, the next day, they started the test at Training Ground 3. Kurenai was even earlier than all 3 of the students. Even though Naruto was half an hour early, Kurenai was already there. They didn't speak a word until about 5 minutes before the supposed meeting time. Naruto said, "I know the secret." Kurenai looked in shock and said, There's no way. They're lying. A demon like you could never figure something out like that. I guess you'll just have to see, Sensei, Naruto responded. Then Hinata and Shino, the other two Genin, arrived. They made a little plan on their way to the exam. Shino would work from the back, sending bugs and other types of jutsus, as well as kunai. And then Hinata could use her Byakugan and close combat fighting style to wear out and finally land a hit on Kurenai. That way, both of them would pass, and Naruto would have no chance to get on their team. But before they started, Naruto said, "Guys, this is stupid. You know that there's not a single Genin team that has less than 3 Genin, right?" "Don't listen to him," Hinata said. "He's just trying to trick us to get a hit on her first. Just do our plan, and we'll succeed, okay?" Shino nodded. "Guys, I'm being serious. I won't even fight, I promise. But this exam is stupid. It's just about teamwork. You know that." "Then don't get in our way. That's teamwork enough, isn't it? Listen, I'll help you, just like Shino, from the back, and then we're all good, okay? Won't do anything else, I promise." "Do what you want, demon. I don't really give a crap either." So they all scattered, Hinata immediately running towards Kurenai for close combat, Shino taking a slower approach, going into the trees, into the woods, and going there for a little bit of hideout, to then send tactical bugs from all directions and wear out, and finally destroy their opponent. Naruto did something similar. Whilst he didn't go into the woods, he did go a little bit far from the fight, about 50 meters. And then he sent some fireballs, kunais, shuriken, gave directions for Hinata, and so on. At the beginning, she didn't like it at all, being bossed around by such a demon. Later, she didn't mind as much since it was pretty useful, but she still told herself that he was just manipulating her. She had to do what she was doing with Shino, and that's it. Finally, Kurenai started to try to use some genjutsu on Hinata, because they were pushing her into a corner. Kurenai just used a mild one since she didn't want to scar Hinata at all. However, the genjutsu didn't seem to work. Naruto once again unconsciously had an aura around him that made only his 2 Genin friends, well not friends, teammates stronger. But none of them realized, not even Naruto himself. But Shiro had always noticed. Naruto gives out an aura that makes people more powerful, but only the ones that he has similar goals with, currently doesn't mind or likes, such as Shiro. And in this case, even just for a brief time, Naruto and the other 2 Genin had similar goals, and they set their differences aside. Not completely, but more than they would have at any other point in time. And at this point, whilst Kurenai was completely flabbergasted that the genjutsu didn't work, Hinata landed 3 hits immediately, almost knocking Kurenai out. This was enough for Kurenai to give up and let the 3 Genin win. And with that, she did confirm that it was actually teamwork, and not just 2 people hitting her. However, she never said that Naruto was right or anything. She just said that the true goal was actually teamwork, and you passed. Congratulations. You are now Team 6, the Genin team of Konoha. Hinata, Shino, and Kurenai celebrated in the evening, but they didn't invite Naruto. But Naruto didn't mind. Naruto celebrated with Shiro, but Shiro was pretty upset. She didn't like Menma and Mito or Sasuke, and they all were annoying. They weren't even that strong for Hokage's children, and the Uchiha's leader's child. Sasuke's Sharingan was barely developing. Mito's Uzumaki sealed / chakra control was not even close to what she expected, and Menma was just loud and obnoxious. And now Shiro was stuck with them for how long? Probably years? She didn't want to do this anymore. She wanted to go back to being an academy teacher, or just a regular Jonin. She did not want to do this, or, at the very minimum, switch to Naruto's team. That would make both of them happy. She let out her frustrations, and on the next day, she seemed a little better. Naruto seemed to make her happy, even if the situations looked dire and sad. Naruto was the spark of light in her eyes, and Shiro was the one in Naruto's. They motivated each other perfectly, and even made each other stronger, whilst Naruto subconsciously and mentally made Shiro stronger, and Shiro made Naruto actually physically stronger, such as with jutsus and training, and intellect of course, because Shiro was very knowledgeable, and with being a teacher, she knew everything that Naruto had to learn and would have to learn in the future. And of course, you can't underestimate her battle experiences that she had working for Minato himself as a Jonin for 5 years straight. Of course, Shiro's team passed, and so Team 6, 7, 8, and all the teams that we know and love finally started with actual missions. All of them enjoyed it quite a bit, except for Naruto. Naruto found it boring, although Menma, Mito, and Sasuke did too. Nobody really liked doing D-rank missions. They were way too easy, and boring as well. There was no action, it was just like chores. It was super boring, annoying. Which is why Menma and Mito asked Minato if they could get a harder mission with some actions. And funny enough, Tazuna, the bridge builder, was there and did request some backup to escort him to his village for him to build a bridge there. And without batting an eye, Minato sent off Shiro and her Genin team, Menma, Mito, and Sasuke. But that's where I'm going to leave off the video. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.